Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sajathiya YouTube channel. Foreign policy. My today's lecture is about the foreign policy, principles of foreign policy, goals of foreign policy, and then the formulation or the sources of foreign policy of Pakistan. So it is very important topic. First of all, the introduction of foreign policy. International relation is the simple way to understand the foreign policy, a international relation, a friendly relations. But proper way to understand a government strategy in dealing its international relations, the strategy of government and the international affairs, national interest, national objective, a policy pursued by a nation and its dealing with other nations designed to achieve national interest and national objective. The basic thing in the foreign relations is the national interest of a state. There is no permanent friend or foe in international relation. But the main thing, the permanent and everlasting thing in foreign policy is the national interest of a state. Principles of foreign policy. The basic principle of foreign policies are international recognized norms or regulations to seek to promote the international recognized norms of interstate relations. Respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity of all the states in the foreign relations. No interference in the international affairs, and as a role of mediator, try to negotiate the problems. This is the best way in the foreign relations. Non-aggression policy. Non-aggression and peaceful settlement of dispute is also one of the principles of foreign policy. To safeguard national security. To safeguard national security and geostrategic interest. To build economic relations. To build economic relations like ECO is an organization where Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, Afghanistan and Central Asian states are members of ECO. The basic objective to build economic relations. To follow the UN Charter. On 10th of December 1948, United Nations Human Rights Charter was passed. So the basic principle of foreign policy is to maintain and follow the United Nations Human Rights Charter in a country and also support in the globe. Racial discrimination and right of self-determination. To fight against racial discrimination in a country and also and to fight against the racial discrimination in the globe, and follow and favor the people who fight for their right of self-determination is also the principle of foreign policy. Now I move to the goals of foreign policy. What are the basic goals of foreign policy? Promoting world peace. Promoting world peace, secure global environment is one of the major goal of foreign policy. Balance of power. What is balance of power? Maintain a balance of power with alliance in order to maintain a friendly relation and better global environment is also one of the goal of foreign policy of Pakistan and foreign policy of the world too. Human rights. To support the human rights, as I mentioned earlier, the Human Rights Charter of United Nations, every country are best and bound to follow the Human Rights Charter in their country and also support them in the world. To promote democratic values and human rights in the world. These are the basic thing about the foreign policy, the principles and goal of foreign policy. Now I discuss about the formulation and sources of foreign policy of Pakistan. Formulation, sources, tools of foreign policy of Pakistan. how the foreign policy of Pakistan is being made. The formulation or sources. There are 5 sources or the process to make the foreign policy of Pakistan. Administrative triangle, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, intelligence secret agencies, political parties, pressure group, and Parliament of Pakistan. These are the sources of foreign policy of Pakistan. Let's talk about administrative triangle. Administrative triangle means the 3 designation in Pakistan: Prime Minister of Pakistan, President, and Army Chief. This is called the administrative triangle. PM, Prime Minister of Pakistan, President, and Army Chief. That's why it's called the administrative triangle who formulate the foreign policy of Pakistan. For the formulation of foreign policy of Pakistan, administrative triangle played very vital role: Prime Minister, President, and Army Chief. But now, with the passage of time and amendment in the Constitution of Pakistan, National Security Council replaced the responsibility of administrative triangle. The National Security Council of Pakistan now upgraded Prime Minister of Pakistan with his cabinet, President of Pakistan, and all Chief of the Armed Forces of Pakistan are now part of National Security Council. And administrative triangle, their latest version is National Security Council, played very important role for the formulation of foreign policy of Pakistan. Second one is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is a federal level executive ministry that is responsible for the foreign policy of Pakistan. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs was created soon after the creation of Pakistan, and Sir Zafarullah Khan was the first foreign minister of Pakistan. The responsibility of Ministry of Foreign Affairs to implement the state's diplomatic principles and policies related to laws and regulation, to safeguard national sovereignty, security, and interest on behalf of a state. Ministry of Foreign Affairs played their roles for the formulation of foreign policy on behalf of state. Intelligence or secret agencies. What is the role of intelligence agencies for the formulation of foreign policy of Pakistan? A government department involved in gathering of military and political information, especially in the interest of national security, responsible for collecting and analysis of data, and then give guideline to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that intelligence agencies also have their important role for the formulation of foreign policy. Political parties and pressure group both have their role for the foreign policy process in Pakistan. The political parties made their way to the government and give their goals regarding the foreign policy of Pakistan. They have made a foreign policy which is based on the national interest of a state. And pressure group, a group of people with aims and opinions try to influence the public policy, like unions and different protesters. They also pressurize the government regarding the national resources, the national objective and interest of a state. So they also, both political parties and pressure group, also affect the foreign policy process of Pakistan. After the completion of 4 sources, administrative triangle, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, intelligence, secret agencies, political parties, the main thing, Parliament of Pakistan. All these points, all these agendas are discussed in the Parliament of Pakistan and the both houses, National Assembly and Senate, where also have a good discussion about the matters, issues regarding the foreign policy of Pakistan. My today's lecture, if I summarized this, or the conclusion of the lecture of foreign policy of Pakistan, it is the international relation which based and designed on the national interest of a state. Then I discuss about the principle of foreign policy, to follow the rules and regulation, to respect the territorial integrity of a state and expect from the other countries to do the same, and favors the right of self-determination, human rights in a country, and also sport in the globe. And finally, I discuss about the formulation sources of foreign policy of Pakistan. These are the 5 sources: administrative triangle, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, intelligence and secret agencies, political parties, pressure group, and Parliament of Pakistan.